The biggest political news in Texas seemed to happen earlier in the year with the governor's race and the primary. I mean, that was one of the hottest races around. Now that the primary is over, it seems to have died down a little bit, but uh, Democrats are going to lose a lot of seats in the House and the Senate. They're going to lose a lot of governorships, but they're trying to pick off some of the big states, and Texas is one of those. I feel like even though they might lose a lot of governors in the Midwest and in the South, that if they can pick off these big states, they can still have something to crow about. But I think it's still an uphill battle for Bill White. I think it's an uphill battle for any Democrat to prove they can win a significant statewide race in Texas. The majority of governorships really doesn't matter since there's no legislating, it's not a legislative body, it just kind of makes for a nice press release. That's why Democrats, even though they're going to lose governorships, are gunning for the big states like Texas, California, Florida, trying to hold Ohio, because they want those bragging rights about the big states. But Washington should care about governorships because of their role in redistricting. And in over 40 states, the governor has a role in redistricting, often vetoing or approving those congressional lines that will impact, the House and control of the U.S. House for the next 10 years. I think when we talk about redistricting in Washington, eyes immediately gravitate toward Texas because of what happened, 8 years ago and 6 years ago with the map, and then eventually with Democratic congressmen being lumped together by Tom DeLay and Republicans, and how redistricting can really impact congressional races for years after the fact. I mean, now we're talking about a Republican wave election and all these competitive seats, when out of 32 House races in Texas, we're only looking at 2 or 3 being competitive right now. Redistricting is key, and it's one of the most underreported stories, I think, at a national level, about how these races in November are going to affect redistricting and congressional lines for the next 10 years. I think having 32 seats is a big prize for either party. So when it comes to redistricting, you have a lot of people that can be creatively drawn into a lot of different districts. Well, it'll be interesting if Republicans are in control of redistricting once again, where they go and what they do. I mean, the Republicans were so successful with the last kind of redraw at gaining seats that there are only so many seats, I think, to be gained. It's impossible for Republicans to hold every single seat in Texas, but they're probably gonna try. I think the biggest race is Chet Edwards in Texas 17. This is a race that he's a member of Congress that Republicans are always targeting. It's always kind of a pet race, sort of somebody at the National Republican Congressional Committee, and he always seems to win. He's a tough campaigner, and he knows, he knows the district, and the district knows him. But this cycle has become a completely different animal. So beyond Texas 17, we're looking at the 23rd district and Ciro Rodriguez. I think it's competitive. I think it's not a top tier Republican opportunity, but one that it's not put away by either party. I think it's on the table for both sides. And now we're hearing about a poll against Solomon Ortiz, a race that we were never paying attention to. I think these races have a lot to do with the national environment and the national mood. It's just the economy and jobs is the prevailing issue, and I think people understand that this problem didn't happen as the problems with the economy didn't start when Democrats took office, but they want to see some sort of solution or progress toward a solution, and they're just not feeling it.